Hello, my name is John Rose, and in this video, I'd like to take a look at another one of the many things they don't teach our so-called experts in medicine and nutrition. And in this case, they don't teach either one of these two groups what a healthy bowel movement is supposed to look like, which is at one end of this 30-foot food tube, and they don't teach our so-called experts in medicine and nutrition the allostatic taste change, which is at the beginning of this 30-foot food tube in our taste buds. And if we understood the allostatic taste change, we would all understand what a healthy bowel movement looks like, and would also know that all of our so-called experts in nutrition and in medicine are clueless. They don't understand bowel transit time. They don't understand what a healthy bowel movement is supposed to look like. They don't know that we've lost one of our natural instincts, which is a huge problem of knowledge, and I've talked about this in my other videos. Under the ultimate solution, I explain how we have 21 main problems of knowledge. And one of the problems of knowledge is that we've lost our natural instincts. That's actually piece number 11. I assigned piece numbers to all of it so I can assign it up into a schematic. So you can look at my map and go, oh, here's piece number 11 right here. It's a blocker that's keeping us from finding the knowledge we need. We can't trust our own experiences. In previous videos, I also explained how we can't trust our own experiences because we build a tolerance to our mistakes, and that would be piece number 5. I call that a malfunctioning survival mechanism. And again, if you go back, I believe it's, I should have looked at this before it came out, or I don't know if it's part 3, part 4. I'll put a link down there and make sure and signify which one it has to do with the 21 problems of knowledge. That probably puzzle number 3 maybe, because that's how I start off. There are 21 main problems of knowledge, and I just mentioned 2 of them, a malfunctioning survival mechanism, and we've lost our natural instincts. Now we can't even trust our own experiences. So, in nature, if we were living the right way, we would know exactly what to eat by using our natural instincts. We would come up to something, and if it was the food we were meant to eat, if it was grown on fertile soil, we would eat it, and if our body needed it, it would taste really good. And we might eat another one, and it would really taste good too. And then we'd notice a third one didn't quite taste as good, and the fourth one might taste so bad we don't want to eat anymore. This is how every animal in nature knows how to eat. So if we ate according to the allostatic taste change, everyone would know what a healthy bowel movement looks like. It's not supposed to come out formed, and it's not okay if we only have 1 or 2 a week as long as we feel comfortable. Our experts are clueless when it comes to the most important thing about our health, and that is what we eat coming out, and how long does it take to come out. And if it takes too long, we ultimately have a serpent that's inside of us that's screwing with us in a way you don't understand until you stop doing it. When you eat the food we were designed to eat, you eat it and the next day it's out of you. There's no question how many bowel movements you have because it's going in, it's coming out. When people have a bowel movement today, they have no idea if it's what went in yesterday, but that's what everyone thinks. But no, what's coming out of you on Monday didn't go in on Sunday, although some of it could have. Chances are it's stuff that went in back on Friday, and maybe some Thursday, and and on and on. Everything that goes through our food tube has its own little bowel transit time, and if it's really, really bad, it can end up being like a little ball of grease inside of our intestines. Now this took me a long time to visualize. In fact, in the beginning I used to use Norman Walker's analogy of how this would build up in our colon. And I know that's not true anymore because I've analyzed everything that's coming out of me for a long time. And if you want to understand what a healthy bowel movement looks like, do what I've done. Go on a long juice fast, clean everything out, go till you stop pooping. Eat nothing but fruit and watch what comes out of you. Pay attention to how long it takes to come out of you. Take a look at it and you'll notice it doesn't even stink. You stink because the shit you're eating, because you're eating shit and it's coming out horrible shit. And that's the only way to really figure this out. It only makes sense if you're going to eat food that takes too long to go through the food tube, what's going to happen to it? Well, to answer that question, you need to know one of the primary jobs the colon has. One is to recycle water. Keeping in mind that when we eat food, whatever we eat, the ultimate goal of digestion is to get it into liquid so we can get it into the blood and then take it to the cells. Remember, the body doesn't have a bunch of cells and 2 fluids. The blood's bringing the food into the cells. All cells eliminate, and that goes into the lymph system, and when the lymph system backs up, that's all of our disease process. I explain how that works in other videos. But when we convert what we eat into liquid, then it goes into the stomach, it goes into the small intestines, it gets absorbed into the small intestines. So when it comes into the large intestines, it comes in as a watery medium. And the reason why we don't have diarrhea coming out is because the body knows how important water is. In fact, a friend of mine a long time ago jokingly said that the purpose for humans is nothing but to be receptacles for water. You know, we're supposed to be like 67, 70% water. And most of us are so dehydrated. Get a scale that measures your water percentage when you do any kind of weight change, especially a juice fast, because you're going to gain water on this. You'll lose edema, but you actually gain water. But we need to realize how low our water is. And of course, the point here is that water is going to skew our numbers. If we lose 30 pounds in a 30-day juice fast, but we gain 10 pounds of water, we really lost 40 pounds. If we're not getting enough water in our diet, this is one of the reasons why we get constipated. Most of us are eating food that doesn't have enough water in it. And again, the first process is we convert it to water, and if it doesn't have much water in it, then that's not going to work very well, and we just can't add water later and expect to make a difference. But then again, once it gets into the colon dries out that water. And now the reason why most people have foreign bowel movements is because they're eating food that takes too long to go through the food tube. The longer it's in the food tube, if it takes 3 days to go through there, then it's going to have all the moisture sucked out of it. And therefore, it's going to come out formed in like a hot dog or a sausage. That's why all of our so-called experts think that a healthy bowel movement should be formed. No, it shouldn't. Everybody's eating the wrong food, and no one has normal bowel movements. It may be comparatively normal, but it's not naturally normal. A healthy, natural bowel movement should be soft, moist, and no form. So when you flush the toilet, it will break up. If your bowel movements are coming out formed, it took too long to go through the food tube, and now what's coming out is not necessarily what went in the day before. In fact, it's impossible to have a bowel movement in one day and have a formed bowel movement. So every bowel movement you have that's formed is never from the day before. So all of us virtually are at least mildly constipated. Some of us are severely constipated, but if we're not getting everything out that we ate the day before, we're constipated. Nothing should be in our food tube longer than 24 hours. And the vast majority of people on this planet have 12 to 15 meals backed up in their intestines. And this is one of the things that's screwing up our species. That, and in addition to not having the coherent sunlight energy that we need in the nucleus of our cells to communicate, and does so faster than the speed of light, those are the two main problems we have that are the two huge factors that contribute to the dark side of our behavior. And I allude to this all the time because in order to understand the knowledge we need, you have to understand the problems of knowledge that are keeping us from getting that. Remember, there are 21 main problems of knowledge. The number one problem of knowledge is not having the knowledge we need, and there's 20 reasons why we don't have it. The number one reason is because we have false knowledge in its place. So there are two forms of ignorance right there. And then there are 19 obstacles or 19 reasons why we don't know we don't know. There are 12 sources of false knowledge and 7 wellness factors. I already talked about 2 of those sources of false knowledge. Piece 5, a malfunctioning survival mechanism. Remember, we build up a tolerance to our mistakes. Now we can make a mistake and derive pleasure out of it, and we think it's okay. That's the problem that we have. Most of us are doing things that we think are okay, but they're not okay, they're wrong. Why? We have a malfunctioning survival mechanism. We build up a tolerance. I explain how that works on my schematic. If you want to go to that much detail, go to the ultimate schematic playlist down below in the description, and then you'll see how I explain all the piece numbers. And then when you look at the Ultimate Solution 11-part series, 9 of those videos explain all the pieces in detail. And it's either part 3 or part 4 that explains the 21 main problems of knowledge. And again, we have to understand, why we don't know. There are obstacles that are in our way, and the easiest way, remember, to deal with all these obstacles, the easiest way to gain back our allostatic taste change, the easiest way to understand what a healthy bowel movement looks like is to do the first of my 3-step process. Go down below in the description box. Make sure you add that to your favorites. Make sure you like my video. Make sure you share this. Understand how important this knowledge is. People keep saying, what's your motive, John? What's your motive? You want to try? How are you making money? How are you making money? I don't want any money. I want you to stop doing what you're doing. Come on, man. The solution is within our grasp. We can do this if we get enough people to do the first of my 3-step process. And if we can wake up from this nightmare. We can realize that we are the enemy, but guess what? We are also the ones who we are waiting for. That's why this is the hero's journey. As I mentioned before in other videos, in case you haven't heard my videos before, this is the first one. A hero is simply someone who can solve a problem or problems that no one else can solve. Well, I'm trying to help people understand that most of our problems are self-inflicted. That means that we are the hero. We can only be our own hero. And that means we are the ones we're waiting for. We keep looking for a hero to come along. Where's the cure for cancer? Where's someone going to save the day? When someone can get rid of my headache? Stop banging your head up against the wall. Quit eating the wrong food. Go on a solid food vacation. At that time, test out different foods. If you think you're supposed to eat animals, start off eating animals and pay attention to how it goes through your system. Watch how it makes you feel. Again, we build a tolerance to our mistakes. So when you go on a long juice fast, juice feast, solid food vacation, that's my first step. One of the 3 things you do is you reset your feedback system. You gain back that lost instinct, the allostatic taste change. And it's interesting because it was several years ago when I was reflecting how good greens were tasting to me when I hadn't eaten them for several days. And of course I knew what was happening. That means I hadn't had those for a few days and I was really craving it. Usually I have a big salad every day. Although in the last 2 months I'm experimenting. I'm drinking 3 liters of green vegetable juice a day in addition to eating my fruit and some nuts. And that's really an interesting experiment right now. But anyway, because I normally eat salads every day, they always taste good, but every now and then I might go 3 or 4, even 4 or 5 days where I don't have a salad. And then when I do, I'll grab some of that spinach or something that I'm putting in my salad, and it tastes so good. It's amazing how good it tastes. And I immediately reflected on what I thought as a young kid, a young man, maybe I'm not sure when I ever had this thought, but it was a long time ago. How poor rabbits, all they get to do is eat greens. How miserable could that life be? They must be being punished for being a rabbit. And now I realize, my God, there are flavors in greens when you have an allostatic taste change, where you understand this and you really need something in the food that's going to taste better than ever. And I was telling that to people for quite some time, within a year or so. Kept telling people that. And I knew they were looking at me like, oh man, you're off your rocker. You're saying that the greens now taste better than you remember steak tasting. Of course, you hadn't had it in so long. It was like 28 years since I had meat. It's 30 years now, but this is a couple years ago. And it had been so long since I had a steak, I couldn't remember what it tasted like. But I never remember it tasting as good as my leafy greens when I hadn't had it in a couple days. And there was a grand opening of a Randall's grocery store just around the corner from me. And I wanted to go check it out and see what it would look like and all. And they were handing out samples, which is a rarity for that store, but at the grand opening they were. And one guy had some steak that he had on a little platter, and I didn't give it a second thought. If I had, I wouldn't have done it, but I just grabbed it, ate it, and I wanted to see what it tasted like, because I hadn't had it in so long, and even though I hadn't put any flesh in my mouth for 28 years, again, the thought is disgusting to me. The idea of eating a dead animal, it just is so disgusting to me. But anyway, I didn't have a chance to think about it, ahead of time. It was a spur of the moment thing. And I chewed it, and I was really expecting it to taste, wow, I remember that, it was so good. Yeah, I used to do this all the time. Once a week, at least once a week, probably twice a week, I'd have the barbecue going and grill some porterhouse or T-bones and make a baked potato and some black-eyed peas with jalapenos in it. That was my big recipe back there, canned jalapeno peas. Wasn't eating too good back then. But anyway, I was chewing on that piece of meat, and I didn't see any thrill at all whatsoever in it. It didn't taste good. It felt so rubbery and like, why would I be chewing shit like this compared to what I've been eating for the last couple decades? No comparison. So we've molested our taste buds. That's why if you don't like fruit, something's wrong with you. You've lost your allostatic taste change. You can't even appreciate the only food that wants you to eat it and that has a symbiotic relationship with it. So anyway, it's most people just don't know what they're missing. That's why I tell people, no one is in a position to evaluate what they're doing, hey babies, and what they need to do, because they don't know what they're missing, and they're not going to think it's a fair trade. They go, no, I love my meat, and nothing could make me feel better than that does. But what they don't know is what they're missing on a moment-to-moment basis when you eat the right foods and you feel vibrant every moment of the day, and your only pleasure doesn't just come when you, oh boy, I get to chow down. This is what gets most people through the day. If it wasn't for the bacon and eggs in the morning, most people couldn't crawl out of bed. If it wasn't for the donuts and the coffee, they couldn't make it through the morning at work. If it wasn't for the thought of going out and getting all-you-can-eat pizza at lunchtime, they couldn't make it till then. If it wasn't for the Snickers and more coffee or Coke in the middle of the afternoon, they couldn't make it through then. And if it wasn't for the fact that they're going to go home and eat some chicken fried steak or whatever, pork chops, whatever, if it wasn't for those moments of what they think is pleasure, they couldn't make it through the day. Life is an illusion, my friends. Don't let your brains get stuck in your taste buds. Bring back your natural instincts by taking a solid food vacation. You owe it to yourself. You owe it to your family. You're not being honest to yourself. If you want to be loving and kind and generous to everybody, you got to be the best that you can be. And I'm telling you, you don't know what you're missing until you do this. I've done it over 1,200 days in the last 24 years. I know what I'm talking from a personal perspective. I've coached thousands of you guys. Thousands. If you could hear the conversations I have with people on day 21 or day 42 or day 65, you'd be going, oh my God, how do I do this again? I'll tell you how to do it. Go down below in the description box. It's called the first step. If you're ready to take it, do it. And when you do, you're in for a treat.